All right. Happy Wednesday, everybody. We're here with Perry and Chris on the Citizen Council live stream. How's it going, Perry?
Going good.
How's life? How's life? It's nice out. It's beautiful weather. No rain.
It
Can't
is.
complain, right?
Nope. And start the fire season.
Yeah, unless you don't want fires coming.
Mhm.
Geez. Have we had any? There's been fires in town recently, right? Like on, abandoned properties where the homeless live.
Oh yeah, there's been quite a few of them already.
It's crazy. I just year after year, I'm always like, man, it's gonna catch like fire real bad. It's gonna be a real like we're gonna have a real bad one, and people are gonna get hurt. And luckily, that never happens. I don't know if it's just because we're on the coast here, or if it's just the fire department is doing such a good job, or they know where the bad spots are and they rush to them when they hear that there's a fire there. I don't know, but like knock on wood, luckily we've not had any really bad ones.
Yeah, it's we stay wet enough that it won't spread extremely fast. Let's put it that way.
We we were at one, or we've seen them on Facebook and stuff, like where man, it like it really catches fire, but they put them out quick.
Yeah.
So that's nice. But I think Matt Wilbanks put one on Facebook once that was like blazing, like whole trees on fire, but they put it out pretty quick. So
hmm
that's good.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of Matt Wilbanks, I was just thinking about him today. Like he was in the newspaper when I first moved here. uh I think with it was like you and him and some other people were doing a neighborhood watch. You guys had started neighborhood watch and gotten in the news because you were patrolling, like open carrying.
hmm
And I thought that was cool that people were stepping up, but I was like, whoa, open carrying, that's crazy. At the time, I didn't have a gun, I didn't do that, I was not comfortable doing that at all. And I had emailed him and I had said, "Hey, I want to help out. I want to see what it's about, what you guys are doing, what things have worked, what haven't worked." I go, "But I will absolutely not be carrying a gun. I'm like, I'm not comfortable doing that, and I just, I hope that that's okay that I join you guys, but I'm not going to be carrying a gun." And yeah, I did some ride-alongs with him, learned a lot of stuff, and fast forward to today, pe- people are always like, "Why do you carry a gun?" It's like because it's crazy out there.
It is.
I was ignorant before, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what was that like? What like go into that? I think I don't know if people have quite heard that whole story from your perspective. How did that all start? Like, what did you guys had all these problems in town, and you were like, how did you get from there's these problems to we're gonna solve it by patrolling the streets with loaded, I think ARs in some cases, right?
Yeah. Some people had ARs. Yeah, quite a few people. Yeah, it was just. I mean, like everybody right now, you're just fed up with all the crime that goes on, and um, I don't know what you would call it. It wasn't really a neighborhood watch. It was just more of a let's go walk and show that there's more people than just the criminals out here walking around, and um, kind of make a scene, kind of just see what happens. And we did that a couple times, and and then it got the idea of neighborhood watch, and so Matt got that all started up on Facebook, and yeah, and then a lot of us would patrol and
So
just
what made you guys pivot from like open carrying, patrolling very visibly, just kind of like for an hour or whatever you guys would do, to not doing that? Was it like it got too much heat in the news, or it just wasn't like effective? Like how did that go?
oh, the heat, um yeah, people complaining or whatever, that wasn't going to bother us at all. It didn't matter. It was just we were there to make a point. We made a point, kind of thing,
Okay.
and um so move on to something that might work a little better at actually accomplishing something. Because we had scanners with us, and there were a bunch of people that called the police on us, and the police were like,
Oh
"Well, what
geez.
are they doing?" You're just walking? Okay, so what?
I mean, when I had first read the article, I was like, "Are you even allowed to do that? Carry an AR through the middle of town for just absolutely no reason? Like, no, you're not in law enforcement. You're just." And but apparently you are. That's Oregon. I didn't know that. Very interesting. I've noticed that, like, yeah, if I patrol, like if I choose a specific time to go out, I'm rarely going to like find anything. Um, it's more like I've learned that having like a go bag ready and having like an outfit ready. Like I used to be in a volunteer fire department, so you have like all your gear sitting in your boots, and you would just like put your feet in your boots and pull up your pants and put your jacket on, and you're ready to go. You've got everything. So I kind of have that set up here. That to me has been more effective than anything. Just kind of being ready to go when there is something rather than like kind of going out and looking for it. What do
Yeah,
you think?
patrolling's hard. Everybody knows I do a bunch of it, but it's hard because if you're committing crimes, you're looking for headlights, and so driving around, I know I've deterred quite a bit of crime, just because I'm driving around, but it doesn't stop it, and you don't catch anybody doing anything. So then you go on foot, and you don't see very much at a time, and it's a lot slower, and you still end up not finding much. But um, I've come up on quite a few people doing shady things, and it's made a difference. I know it has, even though you can't prove it.
Yeah. I mean, Matt Wilbanks had like certain properties he would check, like that he had gotten permission ahead of time to check. And that
Mhm.
was, pretty effective because you'd go out on patrol and you would hit up those properties and make sure everything was okay. And like I live near Coos Bay, so I would drive down Second Street, the alley. That was like a thing at no matter where I was going. If I had to go through town, I would drive down that Second Street alley because that was kind of like the rough spot in town and make sure everything's okay and there aren't people causing problems. But yeah, you do a lot more patrol than me. You kind of go out and have areas that you check on. Um,
Mhm.
but we we worked as a team the other night, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
you, fortunately, a lot of times these things end up not being what they're called in as, but yep, I was just sitting on the couch about ready to go to bed. I was dozing off. And you called and you were like, dude, there is a problem. There was an assault in progress. Report of a man beating up a lady in the middle of the road, just a couple miles away from me, but very far away from uh, responding deputies because I'm out in the county. And I think they were in like Charleston. I mean, they were like a
Mhm.
good 15 minutes out. And so, yeah, I hopped up. Thanks for calling. And I got there and found the guy who matched the description of the guy who was being reported as the attacker, and he was drunk as all hell and freaking out on me. But I just kept my distance and told him to, just hey man, like just hang out here. Like, where are you going? Where are you going? Because he was trying to kind of get away. And I just tried to get him to stop and calm down. And the cops got there a few minutes after me, and I just kind of waved him to the guy. And then I went to go find the girl, check on the girl, who I assumed was badly beaten from the sound of it on the scanner, and found no girl. Right. Like, and you heard more because I didn't have cell service and my scanner didn't work once I got there. I had a short little stubby antenna on, so it didn't pick it up. Um, And yeah, it was like, I guess just like a brawl between friends. It seemed like
Family,
they were
even.
being
Yeah.
family,
Mhm.
cousins. Yeah, they were being really shady about it. I ended up running into them because they were looking for the guy as well. I think they were trying to get him before the cops could get him to try and kind of just like squash everything. And he gave the cops quite a hard time. He did not want to listen to any sort of command whatsoever.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
surprised he didn't get slammed on the ground. Um, I mean, he didn't like come at me aggressively at all, but like boy did he was so belligerently drunk, he was not listening to anybody. So young kid. So I
Yep.
don't know what that situation was, but it's a good exercise, right? Like
Mhm.
you keeping tabs on the scanner, and you have a whole network of people that talk to you, and there's different messaging groups, and and you being able to like essentially act as like citizen dispatch and dispatched somebody who you knew was remotely in the area. I mean, I don't think I got there for at least 5 minutes, and I was hauling ass, getting off the couch, getting my gear, and getting in the car and getting out of here. So um yeah, I mean, it might have even been 10 minutes before I got there. It was crazy.
Mhm.
It was way out near like Blue Ridge.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so, but
But
anyways, that
and
works.
that's what people need to know is practice. Um, it's hard practicing in real life, but that's where you learn how to get better at doing anything really. But um, you make a lot of mistakes when you're out patrolling. There's
Yep.
there's too
Just even
many
knowing how to
off.
like get up on a situation and figure out what the heck's going on is
Yeah.
probably the biggest thing to learn.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Well, um, just there's so many options running through your head about what to do, what not to do. If you think about it, oh, if somebody had a gun was shooting a store up or whatever, yeah, I'd pull my gun out and just shoot them. Well, if you really think about it, and you drive up to a store and somebody that happens to be going on, you don't know if that's the good guy shooting at the bad guy or if that's the bad guy. There's a
Yep.
lot you don't know, and it's not just show up and start throwing bullets around, and that's where practice comes in handy. You you're out there patrol, run into small little nothing situations, deal with them however you can, and learn from it. And I still almost every somewhat um, more important thing that I come across. There's always things I regret doing and I should have done different.
Oh,
It's
every
it's
time. I mean,
it's
like literally,
very
like every time. And so we in the fire department we would have postmortems. You kind of like after an event, you like talk about like what went right, what went wrong, and there's always stuff. Um, your brother had a different name for it. I forget what his was like from
oh
the
yeah, the
military, but
military, yeah.
they this is why people would normally say, well, that's why you leave it to the professionals. Like this is why you guys don't do this because you guys
Hmm.
don't have the training, you don't know what you're doing. It's like, well, here's the thing: the professionals aren't always going to be able to get there in time. And in this state and in this county, a lot of times the professionals' hands are tied and they're not always going to respond the way you want, or they're not always going to investigate. Um, so you kind of got to protect your own neighborhood, and we're losing more and more deputies, so we can't rely on them. Especially if you're out in the county, there's only like one deputy on sometimes. Somehow they got two deputies there within, I don't know, 10 minutes of me getting there, which is pretty impressive. Um, I don't know if somebody off duty showed up, but yeah, we've asked though for training, and they've said, well, you can join the reserves. That's different. I don't want to. Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind joining the reserves. I think it would probably be problematic politically to have me on there, but whatever. That's their choice. Um, but if I'm on the reserves, now I'm under, like, if I do something wrong, I feel like it falls back on them, right? And there's probably insurance and laws and things like that that get involved. Versus what we're asking for is like, can you guys put together a class or something? We'll even pay for. I would love to pay for something like that, and pay to have a class on, like you just said, like assessing a scene. What do you do when you get there? You hear we're allowed to listen to a scanner, we're allowed to go to calls, we're allowed to do that. We're legally allowed to do that. We're even allowed to arrest people, citizens arrest, if we have to, if we're witnessing a crime. But so it's like, help us if we choose to do that and exercise those rights. help us understand what might make us better at doing that and be less of a problem. Because yeah, like I could have chose. So the call was like the report was that this guy is just beating the crap out of this girl in the
Mm-hmm.
middle, and there was a witness right there. The person on the phone was saying they're witnessing this, and they are. And then when the guy left, they were going to go check on the girl. And it's like, so I'm showing up, I see this guy, right? I could have jumped to the conclusion that that was absolute fact and essentially like, tackled the guy. I mean, it's, I think legally, because I didn't witness it, it wouldn't be within my rights. So, like, that would be something they could teach in this class. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
legally, you didn't witness it. But, somebody might have done that. And it's like, I didn't because, right? You have to go into that situation, remove all bias, remove anything your hearsay, and only know what you know is in front of you. And what was in front of me was a drunk guy who
Mm-hmm.
matched the description of someone in a report of something that I didn't witness.
Yep.
And so going to a scene and knowing that, yeah, I'm not going to touch the guy, I'm not going to go near him. um, I just kept eyes on him so that in the event that it was true that he was beating the crap out of a girl, he was not going to get away with it. Right. I was going to stay with him and make sure he was caught and prosecuted for that. I was actually going to just let him go because it sounded pretty bad. And I assumed the girl needed more help. Um, so I was in that moment kind of going, shit, am I on the wrong person? Right. Like, am I focusing on the wrong person? Um, Ultimately, it all didn't matter, but
But
I guess
so you
there
were
was
on the
somebody
right
with the
person.
girl.
The way I see things, because you hear people calling all the time, "Oh, this guy's breaking into my car," um, or whatever, and that's the end of it. Police show up. There's nobody around. When you see something going on, you have to stay with the criminal. If you don't
Right.
keep eyes on them, they will more than likely get away. They can step behind a bush and never be seen by the police.
Yep. 100%. They would have zoomed right past this guy. I actually barely saw him. He was in the ditch. I don't know if he was hiding or if he was just drunk off his ass and had fallen in the ditch, but he was like in the little ditch off the side of the road. And I was, flying around the turn and just happened to catch him out of my peripherals and pulled over down the road and then went back, and he's just screaming, "You stay away from me, man," like all this crazy stuff. But yeah, if he wanted to, he would have, no one would have found him. He could have legitimately just beat the crap out of somebody. And as long as they were a stranger and had no clue who he was, they would never have found him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and no, I've seen cops drive by. They drive by you and I think on a few times we've called something in and we're like, "Hey," and they just go right by. So
Mm-hmm.
it happens. So yeah, no, people, please, if you call stuff in, please stay on the people. Like, especially if it's a property crime. Like, yeah, you like stay on the suspect. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we could put together a course. I don't know if that, like, you have to respect the people putting it on, but it's like, I really wish the sheriff's department um, would put together a program for citizens who want to get more involved. Like, you've got a deputy, then you've got the reserve program. This would be like down here below that, but there's still a need for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think I don't know. I think they think it's easier to just not and to just say that we don't know what we're doing. It's like, well, that's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But
And TNT is a good example. When you and
oh,
I were
the
flying over
yeah,
there, that was
yep.
all Coos Bay cops were in Empire, and a guy had pulled a knife on. I think technically it was a customer, but he was threatening everybody with the knife, and that was a
You and
pretty
I were
intense thing.
separate, like, we had no connection. You were listening to the
Right.
scanner in your own world, and I was listening to the scanner in my own world, and we both self-dispatched. I called your brother while I was flying down the road and just said, "Guy with a knife at TNT," and hung up, and that's all he needed to hear, and he got there seconds after me, which is insane
Hmm.
because, um he's further from the place than I was, and I was already on my way. I think he legit just ran out the door and hopped in his truck. Um, and you must have done the same because you got there, or you might have beat your brother there. I think
Yeah, I can't
it
even
was
remember.
close. It was like me, you, and your brother really quick, and then like 15 cop cars.
Yeah.
It was insane. Well, because do you remember? Like, I was freaked out because the whole way there, I'm hearing like screaming through the scanner, like because there's somebody dispatching it, and then there's somebody on the line with 911, but it must be on speakerphone in the whole call center or something, because you could hear in the background the people at TNT, the employees on the phone screaming.
Mm.
And after interviewing them afterwards, they're screaming at the person, like hitting them with a broom and shit. But it sounded like people were being murdered.
Yep.
Like, it wasn't that the impression you got?
Yeah. Yep. And he would have gotten away. The police would have never found him. That's for sure.
I mean, luckily they knew his name, so if we're
Oh
being
yeah, they did know his name. Yeah.
real, they would have picked him up the next day or whatever. Eric something. Um, but yeah, he had gotten a few blocks away by the time I had gotten there, and I got there just at the nick of time to see him a few blocks away turn, like the last second of him turning off the block. And it just looked weird to me, and I was like, do I go in to TNT, where I'm assuming there's people with like blood everywhere dying, and I can hear all the sirens. They're coming. They're probably a mile or two away, right? So I'm like, which is most important? And I had no first aid anything on me, so I'm not going to be useful in a situation unless I'm just putting my hand over someone's like gushing blood wound, knife wound. So I saw the guy and I went after him and got him to stop. And it was crazy because when I got there, there was no one. I see the guy. I go after him. I'm arguing with him, trying to get him to stop. He charges at me, so I back off. I mean, the whole thing had to have taken 30 seconds. And
Mhm.
by the time I turn around to TNT, like go half a block, take a turn, and look down the road, there's like you guys and 15 cop cars. That was
Yep.
insane.
Mhm.
And I go, hey, are you guys looking for? And I like gave the description. And they were like, yes. And I go, he's right here. And then and I go another half block and I turn, and he's already like gone. That's
Yep.
how fast this stuff happens. And I hauled ass down the road, and it was like me, I think two Coos Bay cops on foot with all their gear trying to run, the guy in front of me, and then like a line of cars coming down the road. It was pretty funny seeing. Turns out it was just like the guy had a knife, and but it was like a fight. I think they were both antagonizing one another, and no one ended up getting injured. I don't think. I think he like damaged their car, like he punched their car. Seems like right, wasn't it something with like down the street, something had happened and it just like kept escalating to the gas station.
Yeah, a car full of high schoolers, and that one kid was terrified though.
I think that was actually the screams. I assumed it was the employees, which were like a bunch of ladies. And I think it was the high school kid screaming for his life. Um, that's what Jackie said, that he was running around all the different aisles in the store chasing the kid and he was screaming. So, but yeah, awesome. Um, awesome like job all around, cops, us, and good training exercise. Luckily no one was hurt. Yeah, we need more of that. Like, um there's going to be there's going to be crimes happening and no one to respond, so like there's going to be a
Mhm.
need for people to be ready and available to do that. I don't know. How do you convince people of this?
Right. And
Right,
then
like
how
what
do
do
you
you do?
convince them to um, screw up 50 times before they start figuring out how to do it correct, so you're not stumbling over cops and you know having cops pull guns on you, and it's hard to get people to want to do that kind of thing because
Yep,
you
and
don't
find
do
the
it
right
right.
person, right? Like it only takes one moron to screw it all up and make
Mhm.
everybody look bad. It wouldn't take our rights away, but boy, if we were part of some organized unit and one of us did something crazy, even if it was a total mistake, it would look really bad.
Yeah.
But people got to start protecting their neighborhoods. I can't respond to anything in Charleston or Lakeside or Powers or like and again, neither can the sheriff's deputies in a lot of cases. So people got to start making their own networks.
Mhm.
I know in my neighborhood everybody has my phone number and they know that if something were going down, they know who to call. um, so appreciate the call from you, because that's how we got to do it. Good training. And um, if anybody is listening, I don't think there's too many people today. We didn't like really advertise this, but if anybody wants to learn or join or talk about that sort of stuff, um, there's going to be more and more of a need for it,
Mhm.
especially if we start having riots. How about that? Have you been following any of that crap in LA?
Oh, a little bit, yeah, here and there.
Sheesh.
Yep, it's
Um, what bothers me the most is they don't call them riots.
mhm,
They call them protests. It's like
yep,
there are protests and there are also riots. It's like when we talk about homeless people. Like, no, the problem we're trying to solve and find a solution for is the criminal homeless. These people who are criminals and walking around the streets or living in the bushes. They they're also homeless, but they're also criminals. So some of these rioters might be protesters. They might have started out at the protest, or they might not even be protesting at all. They might just simply be rioting, and that's the problem. I don't think anyone in this country is upset that there's people protesting.
right,
But if you're blocking the road, you're not protesting anymore. You're
mhm.
like you're kind of rioting, you're kind of causing a problem. Like, could you imagine like a bunch of Trump supporters blocking the road in downtown Coos Bay this weekend? Do you know how well that would go over?
Yeah, it
Would we
wouldn't.
be protesters?
No, and it's just hard to believe that that's where we are. Is depending on who you associate yourself with, defines doesn't even define your actions. Um, it's it's so weird that um what you do is worded one way or another depending on who you associate with, and it's crazy. It's wrong, and that those things happen here too. You know, just because of who you know or who you talk to or who you've been seen with, that determines whether you're a good guy or a bad guy in a lot of people's eyes, and in very negative ways, and that's not right. And the idiots doing that
It's
are they're just flat out idiots.
well, it kind of makes you think like, man, is like the media more to blame for a lot of this than anything? Um, I I occasionally check CNN just to see what the other side is thinking about, and what the heck they're putting out there into people's minds. And trying to pull this up, I was like trying to see how they're viewing the riots. Like, are they calling them riots or protests? And obviously, they were calling them protests. Everywhere on the screen, it was like protest, 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 protest. In a tiny little spot, they said that at times the protests have turned violent. It's like at times, okay,
Mm.
like okay, and then and then, you, and then you click on this one article, and it's like masked rioters in Northern Ireland attack police, torch houses for second night. And it's like, okay, torching houses, like that's not happening in LA, at least right now. But all the vandalism on all these businesses, I watched the press
Looting
conference
and
from the mayor, and she was saying it's in the millions already. Looting and just the spray paint on all these buildings, museums, even, you know. So it's like I looked through this article and I read it, and the damage seemed very similar, and the pictures seem similar. You've
Right.
got cars on fire, you've got people in masks throwing rocks. Look at it, there's a rock, right? And you read it. Why is this a riot? Why is this masked rioters attack police? And by the way, all this everything's the same. It started out as protests. So you read the article, and people can research this on your own. And this just happened. This is happening simultaneously with the LA riots. It's starts out as a protest and then it turns violent. But the way they report it is like from the higher level, like, oh, they're masked rioters, instead of saying, well, it's a protest, but it got crazy. No, they're like, it's masked rioters, they're going crazy, but it did start out as a protest. That's the same news outlet. It's like, is
Yeah.
it because they're white people from Western Europe? Is that the issue? And then you go, well, maybe it's like something different. Like maybe they're protesting like taxes or something that CNN thinks is petty. You know what they're protesting? That
I can
a woman
guess.
that two immigrant boys raped a teenage like Northern Ireland girl,
Hmm.
a local girl, and that it's been happening, and they're really pissed about it, and they think that these people get away with it and they get off really easily, so they're pissed. They're pissed at the judicial system, which is ironically the same thing that these LA rioters claim to be. They're pissed at the judicial system. They don't like the way things are being handled. But it's like in one case, you have townspeople upset that something is happening to their townspeople that have lived there forever, and it's somebody from the outside coming in, causing a disturbance that is not typical. I think they were like, I don't want to say, oh, they were like Romanian immigrants. Those were the two suspects. And then in LA, you have the opposite. You have people coming in to a neighborhood claiming that the people that already lived there, that were already Americans and in law enforcement, are the issue, and they're causing a problem. It's like that's wild. Like I
Right.
don't I don't even know.
Right.
Uh,
And so people need to realize, and some people may do realize this. Um, you only know what you have experienced personally. And we live in a world where we personally have no idea what is going on anywhere outside of what we can see.
right.
And so anything can be manipulated. Anything can, and you got to be critical of what's being said and not fall for the BS. And it shouldn't be hard because the information is out there. You know, if you watch CNN and Fox and go, well, they're not saying anything that's the same, and CNN is not showing the cars on fire or something, but Fox is, well, you might want to start thinking maybe cars are on fire and it's not being reported. I mean,
Right.
Fox could be getting car fires from Ireland and saying it's happening in LA, but something's up. And if you don't know who to believe, you might not want to believe anybody.
Yeah, do your own independent research.
Yep.
Um, I was watching. I have an app on my TV, and it was actually like the LA news, like from their local LA TV station, and they played a tape of two ICE agent cars, well, no, I don't think they said ICE, just two law enforcement cars doing like a pin maneuver on a little sedan, and came out guns drawn and arrest the guy. And they're talking about how they arrested this guy, and it was this um, big scene. He had kids in the car and his wife in the car, and they had to be treated by the fire department, by medical, and it was this big sob story that essentially the police were being really mean to this family, and they detained the man, separated the family, left his crying children in the car. He's such a the cops are meanie heads. And then they interviewed people on the scene. One of the guys claimed to be like his cousin, said he knows him, and he's like, he's an American citizen. They have no right. They claimed they had a warrant, but they didn't show us a warrant. It's like, they don't need to. If they have a warrant, they have a warrant. You'd have to prove later that they didn't have a warrant and it was an illegal arrest. So like, these people don't understand the system, and they're claiming things that probably aren't true. Like, and it's fine that he's an American citizen, because I looked it up. You find out, oh, well, what really happened? Well, the police put out a statement. They weren't immigration people. They weren't arresting him for any sort of immigration thing. They were arresting the guy because he assaulted a police officer at one of these protests, at the riots. He assaulted the police officer, and they had a warrant for his arrest, and they were going after him. So you have the people on the ground and the news station spinning the whole thing, causing confusion and anger, probably, right? You're pouring gasoline. These people are already upset at the government for, over enforcing immigration policy, and you're playing a story trying to make it look like the bad police were going after this poor American citizen who they racially profiled because he was
Mm-hmm.
Hispanic. And that's not what happened. I don't know. It's
Right.
how, how do we get that to people? How do we help them understand? Because I have people now who like support what I'm doing and support me, but I guarantee you, if I come out saying these LA riots are bad and this is crazy, they're going to think that I'm somehow against like immigration, and that they're only viewing this through the lens of like, these are poor people who deserve a chance in our country and they should be left alone by the police. And by me saying anything about it, apparently I'm some bad guy, I'm some bigot. And
Well,
how do we educate
people
people?
people look for things to reinforce what they think. Um, People have a harder time questioning whether or not what they are thinking is true, and so it's very hard. Um, I see it all the time. You can talk with any local government official and have conversations with them, and they know they're right, and it doesn't matter if they are right or not. They know it. And same with every anybody that hates us, the same thing. Oh, they know they're right, even though they're not about most things that they're upset about you and me about. Um, and that's all they care about finding is what reinforces what they want to think.
Well, and
And
they'll even find people around them to reinforce that, right?
right,
Like, they'll surround themselves with people, yes men, who will tell them that, oh yeah, yep, like Biden did.
hmm
Um,
yep. And
I don't
so
know.
you can lay something out, and they can turn around. You can go see right here on Fox. It says this, and because Fox and CNN are so opposite on what to report, they can go over to CNN and say, "No, see here, this is true," because they said it. And because they don't want to know what the truth actually is, they just want to reinforce what they think. You'll never win because they know that CNN's telling the truth. It's it's very hard to get most people to actually sit back and go, well, maybe I am wrong in my thinking, and maybe I need to dig into it a little more. They just rather say, no, I'm right. And
One, I think people have to realize that if they're going to like CNN or even Fox for their information, that they're providing you a service. You're the like product, like, that they're making money off of, because they're selling you advertisements. and to, that's what you're purchasing. But it's like a service, like they're selling you entertainment essentially. Their goal is to keep you on that page and keep coming back to that page or on the television screen or wherever you're viewing their content over and over and over for the longest amount of time possible, so that they can sell you their product, which is advertising. And it's like, people, please understand
Hmm.
that like they're heavily biased, both of them, no matter what angle they're playing to their audience, to their user base. And that's why I think that like we might be more effective than anything, just by simply putting out some sort of publication. I mean, what we're doing right now, this thing that we've created, this podcast, is great, but it's like a long format podcast, and not everybody watches that. Some people like to read and look at pictures and stuff. So I just think that between like our little network, we could put together quite a little publication, and help people kind of maybe share the, like, if it's like even something on paper that they could like literally share with a friend who might be like, on the other side of local politics. Like, hey, look, read this, tell me what you think, these people did their research, maybe the city of North Bend isn't quite doing what you think they're doing, you know
Yeah.
I don't know.
It will, and even with Neighborhood Watch, I'll make a post or talk about, you know, oh, this RV needs ran out of here, or whatever it is. And almost every time you'll have that one ignorant person that has to get in and make comments about how, oh, that's just somebody down on their luck, or that's just this, or it, and they know nothing about the person. And even though they know nothing about the person, they're going to assume exactly what they want to think, and in their little fake reality that they want to live in. And, and I don't know how to get people to stop doing that. It's
I don't know if you ever will. There's always going to be people like that, probably. I don't know if you ever will, but I think we can counter it with finding more people that are like in the middle, and like giving them more ammo, more facts, more truths, so that if they're having a conversation about the criminal homeless, or they're having a conversation about how these cities spend their money, or the law enforcement situation, how they're defunding the jail and stuff like that, we can give them like more ammo to have these conversations when we're not around, right?
mhm,
Because I think like, yeah, with the neighborhood watch group on Facebook that you have, you've done a good job of like kind of having a little network there where um, there's enough diverse opinion that it's not like a echo chamber, but it's like you guys all have the same kind of goal or like values that are aligned and that are like non-political, that you guys are all trying to solve a problem. You're trying to solve the problem of the riffraff, right? Like
mhm,
um the rampant crime in neighborhoods, and keep an eye out. And I don't know, creating more little networks like that are like solution focused. Because yeah, I don't agree with everybody in your group. Sometimes I can't stand it. But there's luckily enough people in there that you've tilted the scales that it's not like unbearable to be in there, right? Like you've talked about though, like sometimes, yeah, some of the people are like wild.
and and the
But
fact that nobody wants to debate anymore. If I say something and you don't agree with it, okay, tell me whatever based in fact, you know, why I'm wrong. And we can hash it out. It should not be a big deal. But no, it can't be. It's got to be hate, and it's got to be um
emotional.
oh, I'm sitting on my couch, but I know exactly what's going on, and I've never been there and or anything.
Well, I
And
think
it's
you posted about the thing from the other night, and you're talking with me who's like actually there. And then there's people who are involved in the incident, like the cousins, who are posting, calling you out, saying you have no clue what you're talking about. And it's like, first of all, you do. Second of all, if you are involved in that, your family is all involved in that. You're the most biased. There's no truth that's going to come out of you guys. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I would even go so far as to, my inclination is that there's way more to the story. Probably drugs involved. Who knows? Like, you guys are not up to any good. And that's why you didn't want any cops around you. That's why you were pissed off at your cousin for causing a scene, getting the cops called. You guys wanted it snuffed out, hidden, and then they call you out. It's
Mhm.
like, so that's crazy.
But
Um,
it,
and
so that's the advantage of have only talking in facts, putting your emotions aside, your feelings don't matter, and just sticking with facts. Because when I talk on Neighborhood Watch, I have something to back it up with. And so people want to question what I'm doing, whatever. I can argue with you till the cows come home. It doesn't matter. And I will always win because I'm not twisting the truth. I'm not lying. I'm not doing any of that. So it is very easy for me to defend myself while they're
I
scrambling to figure out how to somehow get out from underneath what I'm saying.
I 100% know what you're talking about. I talked with Radio Rob Taylor about this yesterday. That it's like, it's about knowing what you know and knowing what you don't know. Like, you don't argue about things that you don't know. If you don't know it, admit you don't know it, or just stay away from it. You don't know about it. And that's, I think, what you do. You kind of focus more on the stuff that you do know. Like, these are the facts. I know they're facts, so I'm going to stick to them, and I'm going to argue them because they're facts, and I'm not going to back down. And I think some people take that as like, what do they call it? The liberals call it toxic masculinity, right? You're just some man who's always right. You just always want to be right. And it's like, well, if I am right, then I'm right. It's not me trying to be right. I'm right.
Mhm.
And I think people confuse that. It's like, I'm not. You're not always right, but when you're talking about something that's factual, and you have the facts and you have the receipts to back it up, then yeah, you're gonna be right.
Yep. Yep.
So I think that's what
Yep.
you're talking about.
Yep. And the other thing is people and their opinions. Oh, I have the right to my opinion. Well, if your opinion is based in complete untruth, then no, you don't have a right to that opinion. Sorry.
Or you have a right to it, but you're gonna sound pretty dumb expressing it.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't come at me telling me why you think you have this opinion or whatever. And it's not, it's based, if your opinions are based in fact, great. But if you're living in some false reality, making up your opinions, no, they're worthless. They're 100% worthless.
Yeah, it's crazy. People try and accuse, like, you and I or something, or assume, they try and say that, we don't know what we're talking about when we talk about the criminal homeless or this or that. And it's like, if people only knew, or they'll question your intention, right? um yeah, because I ran for office, people always want to question your attention. So that was a big thing for me. I'm going out there filming some of these homeless encampments. It's like, oh, well, he's just doing that, for show, or he's just doing it for fame or whatever. It's like, no, I'm trying to show you guys what I already know. I've already
Mm-hmm.
interviewed these people. I did it. You know me. I did this for at least a year before anybody in this community even knew my name.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to these people, and I talked to the city officials. I talked to, I did ride-alongs with Matt Wilbanks, and talked to everybody in every aspect of all of this to try and get to the bottom of it and figure it out and understand it fully before I ever threw my name in the hat, before I ever even entered the public domain to talk publicly about it. And it was pretty incredible when people just instantly, boom, assume that I have no clue what I'm talking about. And it was anybody from rando person on Facebook to sheriff and county commissioners. Oh, he has no clue. He's just some uneducated fool who has no clue. It's like, okay, well, John Sweet, commissioner, have you been to a bum camp? You want to come with me to one of these bum camps completely riddled with guys with warrants for all sorts of crimes, running from the law? They're not people who, like, lost their job at the restaurant and their home burned down in a forest fire. That's what I think they want you to think, that these homeless people.
It is.
I
Well,
don't know.
and it's because most people do not take the time to even going to one camp, let alone figure out however many camps they can get to. And so because they've never been there, they can be told whatever, and they have nothing to argue against it.
Or understand how all the drugs are run around town, or how there's all these trails that connect all through like the water reservoirs, all in the middle of like Coos Bay and North Bend, how they can get from, downtown Coos Bay all the way to Empire without being seen,
Mm-hmm.
all on these trails. They can get all the way to Libby and Charleston. They can get all over without being seen.
Mm-hmm.
They can move stuff all around. Some of them even, remember we found cars back there?
Yeah.
I mean,
Behind locked gates.
it's cut,
Yep.
behind locked gates, cutting down trees, totally nuts. And the one time, I think we tried to find the end of the rainbow. We went up Elrod and just continued and continued, and we there was no end to the bum camps. And we did the
Mm-hmm.
same thing behind was it Walmart? Cascade.
Cascade. Yeah.
We went far, far back in there, and it is endless. And I don't think they understand that either. I don't think they
Mm-hmm.
understand that these people have built an entire network of trails and camps and a whole like parallel society, and they get away with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mostly petty. Like it's mostly petty crime. They're mostly just doing these little petty, they're just stealing things here or there, breaking into, this or that, stealing your gas cans, and they're just doing it to sell money, to sell things to get money for drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're moving the drugs around, and it's just, I don't know. It's wild, and there's no solution being proposed for it. So
Yeah.
that's why I appreciated your group. That was what first turned me on to you guys, and I was like, hey, like there's people trying. They might not be solving it, but they're trying, because I
Mm-hmm.
don't see anybody else trying. And then we get the cops to argue with us, right? That I guess we're hating on law enforcement. It's like, well, no, you're just not solving the problem that we're trying to solve, but you're telling us that we're solving it wrong. But like you're not solving it. Like you're not doing anything about it either. You're telling us that what do they always tell us? It's the state's problem. It's the
Mm-hmm.
state. We got to go after the state. And it's like, well, you're not going after the state, but you're questioning our authenticity of actually trying to solve the problem. Yet you're not actually trying to solve the problem the way you're saying. I don't know. It's just crazy. I can't even. So I just stay focused on what I know is right and what I'm doing, and try not to let them confuse the hell out of me, because I don't think they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think they know what they're doing. They're on a career path. They chose that job. They're doing it for money, career, all those things. And I don't judge them for that. I judge them when they start trying to say that they're doing it for the right reasons. They're protecting the community. No, you're not. You're protecting part of the community. Like if someone is being raped, or like we talked about the TNT thing, guy with a knife. Yes, you guys are responding to things like that. But in terms of this, like all these encampments and this network of criminal activity and drugs, not really. They're not solving that problem. And I don't mean that like to be judgmental. It's just like a fact to me. We see it. It's a fact.
Mhm.
It's not
Yeah.
happening. It's not being solved.
No.
I think I'm boring you.
No, you're good. I'm just thinking about
I'm
the Vega
I'm
property.
ranting about stuff that you know about. The Vega property?
Yeah, because
Yeah. So for people who don't know, the Vega property, it's this what was it? The bar?
uh,
Spotlight Bar, Gussie's.
Gussie's.
It's like across from 7-Eleven in Empire. There's this property. It's essentially North Morrison. So you have South Morrison, and then across
Newmark.
Newmark, North Morrison, I think would continue, but it doesn't. It's just the woods, and so it's like a whole block or two, and it's owned by this guy named Robert Vega, who where do you live? Portland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So, but you can
and the land's
go
still
for it.
for sale. But for years we've been going in there, and it always has half a dozen campers in there. Um, always, and it's a pretty rough little area. pretty rough. Like,
And it's pretty well established.
yeah, yeah. Um, and I even wrote Mr. Vega. It's coming up on 2 years ago now. Saying, hey, you need to do something, or we're going to start coming after you one way or another, because what's going on your property is just ridiculous. And he came in and had some people fall some trees down across the huge path that you could drive a truck down,
Right.
and
They kind
just,
of just like and made it
yeah, trying to
so you
block
couldn't
people
even get
from,
back there.
yeah, as easily anyway. And that was it. He didn't do anything for,
And they've since
well,
cut through all them.
yeah,
It
yep,
doesn't even
and
look that
living
bad
in there
anymore.
and overdosing and committing suicide and human waste into the creek, and all of this has been going on ever since.
There was
And
just an overdose today, right?
yep, just today again. And of course, a little bit of Narcan, and she's back at it. But
Was it
talking with,
someone we know? Was it a regular?
yeah, yep, it was a regular. Um,
Jeez.
and talking with the police chief, he's having problems with Vega, not really wanting to work with him. And the last couple months, they've been pretty consistent with trespassing people. It seems like I hear it a lot more on the scanner.
On
And then
that property, you
today,
mean?
on off of his property, yeah.
Okay.
And and then today, supposedly Vega has somebody in there cleaning the place up. So I don't know how well she's cleaning the place up if there's people camping back there and overdosing. But um, a couple months ago, I heard that code enforcement was going to have to start getting involved because Vega wasn't trying to get anything done. So
Yeah, they've been saying that for a while.
whether
That
he's
that was the
being whether he's being genuine about cleaning it up and starting to care about it or not, is we'll have to see. But I have my
yeah.
doubts.
That was the property that I walked with the chief of police and the sergeant for like an hour. And they kicked the people out, but they were telling me like there's really nothing they can do. They don't have permission from the landowner, so they're not able to trespass people. They're not able to do anything. So like when I say they kicked them out, they just kind of like told them that they should leave, but they couldn't arrest them or force them to do anything. Um, and they came right back. But um, at the time, I was like, I look at the map and there's all these city right of ways because it's supposed to be a street, and they were claiming that there was nothing they could do with that. That like even if they're camped right in the middle of it, and I'm like, I didn't really believe that, but they kind of said that that's like the property owners, and it's like that's not their property; it's the city right away. I don't know, but um, they claim the biggest thing was is that they don't. If you don't have permission from the landowner to trespass people, you're kind of shit out of luck. So luckily, it sounds like they have that now. They
So,
must if they're trespassing people.
well, it's just illegal camping, so never mind. I was going to
Oh, that's
say,
like a ticket.
yeah,
Yeah,
you can just get a ticket. If they don't have written permission to be on the property camping, it's an automatic illegal camping. And but it's just a ticket, and they don't care about tickets.
hmm,
You can give them, because wait, what? There's nothing you can do. You can't get money from them to pay for it, and you can't arrest them for not paying for it. So,
right.
what's the point of the city ordinance if the people that are supposed to obey them don't care?
Well, maybe we should go down there and see what it looks like. I know after the Lakeside meeting last week, people told me that because we filmed it, that they were like, remember, I think I was saying this last week, that they were seen like hauling ass out of there over the next couple days. They're like, none of those bums want to be back there in the woods because they didn't want to get filmed and put all over Facebook
Yeah.
and YouTube. And so maybe that'll help give some of these neighbors a reprieve because I'm sure they contact you around that property. It's crazy. I
Hmm.
mean, that's a bad area, and it's just made worse by this little forested area that is out of control.
Yeah. And the override's
Fighting
getting
back
bad
there.
again, people are saying.
Elrond. I'm hearing everywhere. Everybody's messaging me saying everything's getting bad. So I don't know. Man, we've been fighting this for years trying to get some sort of movement on it. And I think my biggest conclusion is that there's no conservative, and I mean conservative like political thought, like because they're the main people who are about like law and order and kind of providing like solutions to stuff like that. There's no conservative group. There's supposed to be the Republican Party, but there's no like main networked, organized conservative group in a county that votes conservative
Mm-hmm.
generally. Like you look at the presidential election, when the most people vote, we vote conservative. And but there's no conservative group. The Democrats are super well organized,
Mm-hmm.
well funded, and they're doing a great job of promoting their vision for America. And that's not consistent with the majority of Coos County, and especially like when it's at your doorstep. The main if you have like this riffraff at your doorstep, and you look at, will the Democrat Party solve these issues, or will the Republican Party, like their platforms, their policies, will they solve my issue? I'm sorry, it's going to be conservative. It's going to
It
be the
is.
Republican Party platform that is going to solve those issues when it's at your doorstep. And that's what we're dealing with, right? Like, so if we're trying to solve this crime issue, you got to look. And anybody, if you're a liberal listening to this and you're like, man, I'm really annoyed with all this crime issue, maybe for other issues federally, you don't want to look to the Republican Party. You don't want to talk to a conservative. But for this, you need to. You
Mm-hmm.
need to help local Republicans, local conservatives, um, and empower them and get them into positions where they can propose and enact solutions. Otherwise, we're not going. We're only going to continue to go backwards, and it's
Yeah.
going to be bad.
Yeah. And that's
I don't know.
and people need to
Isn't
be
that
able to separate the different layers of politicians. You know, if the county and city, that's where things really affect us. And that's, all these everything, that homeless committee and uh, all of these things that actually affects us in our day-to-day living. Um
the county
Federal,
homeless response group or whatever you're
yeah,
talking about?
yeah. Federal, yeah, not really. I mean, we can fight over whether we want a border wall or not all we want. It's not going to affect us on our day-to-day life. It's really not. It might every once in a while affect us, maybe, but not in our day-to-day life. And people need to understand that. You need to look at federal and local completely different. They're not the same. If you want an abortion, well, okay, that has nothing to do with our local politics. If you don't want an abortion, it has nothing to do with our local politics. It really doesn't.
Right. No, you're absolutely, you're nailing it. That's the conclusion I've come to with well, after all these years trying to
Mhm.
get involved and to figure out a way to solve this. I think it comes down to we need a stronger conservative representation and organization around here. Otherwise, we're not going to see any of this remotely get any better. We
Mhm.
need like-minded people who have the like-minded, similar philosophies and policies to solve these problems. And I've studied the liberal way, the Democrat Party platform, and I don't see anything. They don't even, it's not even in their platform. They're not even proposing a solution for law and order. It's not even part of their platform. It's not even they don't even identify it as a problem to find a solution for. That's what, like, so I hope if any liberal is ever listening to any of this, that is what they can take away. That the people you support are not even identifying this as a problem. So,
Speaking of local problems, um,
oh no.
CCAT is wanting to put in an $8 or $10 million bus hub in Coos Bay. Yeah, that's not to ship people out of here. I can promise you that. Why do you need to?
Right? Like
Why do we need something like that?
like does do other cities have that? And even if they did, is that something that we need? And it's like, yeah, is that I don't know, right? Like, yeah, I've never even thought about it like that. Is that going to bring people here or send them away? How is that going to benefit our community? Because
It,
we have an issue with people from like a lot of the bums, criminal homeless that we run into. We talk to them. Where'd you come from? Roseburg, Eugene, Portland, or even up and down the coast. Oh, I came from Brookings. The majority of them are not people from here. They're not they don't have roots here, they don't have family here or a business like a job here, nothing lined up. They're fleeing something and they end
mhm.
up here. Um, I will say that some of them claim that they're stuck here. So you could argue that a transit hub would help them leave, but I don't
But we have
believe them that they're
buses
stuck
that
here.
go all up and down the coast that would do that anyway.
Well, a lot of times I say, well, what do you mean you're stuck here? Oh, well, I got in trouble with the law. Now I have to go to court. So I'm stuck here. It's like, well,
Mhm.
don't do that, you know? So, um, I don't know. It would,
If you look at the CCAT bus system we have, number one, they cannot even maintain the little bus stop shelters or whatever they are that we have because these criminal homeless that they love giving rides to destroy these things every chance they get. So if they cannot even take care of their little bus stops, now they're going to try and take care of some big old hub where it's going to be a hub of criminal homeless. I don't think so.
I saw someone talking about it like, oh, it's a $10 million like grant or whatever. Or it's like funds
Mhm.
coming. It's not local funds. And it's like, okay, but it's still tax dollars. It's still coming for it's not like an endowment from Bill Gates, you know, like
So
these it's still government money.
I took their little survey that they put out. They're asking if you want talking about Wi-Fi and talking about being able to charge your phones and all kinds of these special perks that all would benefit the homeless. Kind of
Mm.
funny. It's a homeless hub is what that will end up being when you
Well, you know,
go
I've
through that
talked to
survey.
a lot of people all over the county, all over even Douglas County, Curry County. Now, I will say that maybe the conversations they have with me are biased if they know who I am, but I just talk to random people. And I've never heard ever anywhere around here someone complain and say we need a transit center or better buses. Never. Even the homeless haven't even complained about it.
Mhm,
And I've definitely never heard someone say we need Wi-Fi in the parks. Everybody has a cell phone. Even the homeless people have cell phones with data, and they don't need Wi. Like that's crazy. Well, actually, no. Some of them have cell phones and they don't have data, and they are always trying to get on the Wi-Fi,
mhm.
like at the library and stuff. So maybe that's
Right.
nuts. Why are we spending all this money and resources and time and energy and focusing on things that what are they solving?
Yeah. And I don't know if that survey's still up, but people need to go to CCAT and take the survey just to read through it because you can you can draw the line between all of their little perks that they want to add to this hub straight to wants people what homeless people would want, not need, what they would want, because none of that stuff is needed to survive. It's just a uh, it's just a perk. That's all it is.
Yeah. I mean, you'd like to think that, oh, it's going to beautify the area, it's going to clean it up, it's going to make it look more modern and attractive to people who are going to come here with their businesses and money and pour it into our economy, and it's going to blossom. But I just don't get that feeling from it.
I can promise you, it will be overrun with homeless, criminal homeless, and the average person will be too scared to go there. I can almost guarantee it.
I've
It
even
always
seen them built
happens.
in like Santa Rosa, like they were building a rail line from like Marin to Santa Rosa and in California, and like they built these hubs and more stations, and they're beautiful and lots of money put into it, and then no one uses them.
Mhm.
They just sit there. I don't know, but
Yeah, why? So why do you need a hub when you have a bunch of bus stops scattered throughout the town? What?
or they hitchhike,
All
or
all
they
of those
walk.
people are going to have to come to the hub and then get on a different bus and go somewhere else? No.
Yeah. Well, luckily we've got a guy uh, on the board, Phil Taylor, who's gonna hopefully when he's sworn in I think at the end of July, he'll be a voice for our kind, people
Mhm.
like us who think critically and try and use common sense for things and aren't just like flooded with government fluff. Oh yeah, that'd be 10. Oh, that's a beautiful rendering. How amazing. Oh, we got a grant for it. Sure, let's spend the money. It's
Yeah,
like, no, no, stop thinking like that. that
yeah.
that thinking has gotten us to where we are.
They want to take
Speaking
free
of,
money, and that free money will make this town worse. 100% without a doubt.
I was thinking about Santa Rosa and Marin and stuff. Do you know how much more homeless we have here than California? Even like when I lived in San Francisco in the city,
Ooh, I
I
don't know.
just there are pockets of it, but like for I'm thinking like per capita, right? Like I'm looking at all the
Probably,
like
yeah. Mhm.
how much handouts they get there and how many people there are and how much easier it would be to live in the city and then you look here and it's like there would be way more people in San Francisco like per capita, like we have so many people for such a small little area. We're
Yeah.
overwhelmed. And you look at that in our budget in our jail and the calls for service. We're
Mhm.
overwhelmed. The fire department, I've talked with like the fire chief. Like we are overwhelmed with these people, um, wasting our time and energy and money and uh, destroying the town.
Mhm.
I don't know. Those all things on my mind today. I went for an hour walk and I was like, man, I was thinking about how I got involved, how I met you guys, and um, tried to figure out all the different ways that these things were happening and who was solving them and who wasn't and what people have tried and what they haven't. And here we are years later and like, I don't know, have we gotten anywhere?
It
But I think we have, but very little.
yeah. Well, even the
We've
city,
prevented it from getting a lot worse.
yeah, I think so. But even the city is needing to move funds around to be able to help spend all their time and energy cleaning up homeless camps instead of dealing with the root problem. Let's just clean up the aftermath. Let's throw millions of dollars a year at cleaning up the aftermath. No, solve the problem. You know,
Yeah, we need
just
more zero tolerance like mandates for certain things.
yeah,
And when you're hitting a roadblock and it's some state law, fight it. Like I would love to see some of our local politicians standing up on a statewide stage and fighting it,
it
coordinating with other people. Then they're just not. When they go to these like
no,
statewide events, like the League of Oregon Cities and stuff, like Jessica Engelke, I think she's like president of the League of Oregon Cities, which is an amazing opportunity for a local town like ours in North Bend. I think she just goes there and it's all just about networking to get more grant money for like fun projects. That's what I take away from it when she gives reports and things. I don't see her like giving a report on, yeah, so we discussed all these ways that we're going to try and tackle homelessness. And I don't mean homeless like we talk about like the crime, the riffraff, that type of homelessness. I don't see them like say like, "Oh, we're going to try these 7 things this year."
mhm,
You never hear that coming out of any of these like conglomerates of mayors or city
no,
councilors.
no. You don't see
It's unfortunate.
anything. It's ignored except for by the police. The police are the only one that don't ignore it, and I don't, and it's a huge problem, and it's ridiculous. It's sucking the funds out of the city. It's doing all kinds of stuff, but you know, is all they say is, "Oh, we don't want to get sued. Oh, we don't want to get sued." Well, you got to do something.
Right? Like sometimes you got to take it to that level. I don't know if Grants Pass has been successful any more than we have in Coos Bay, but they've at least been fighting it. They've been
Hmm.
fighting it on a national stage. They took their case all the way to Supreme Court and won, but then I think Oregon like stabbed them in the back.
Yeah, with passing that law, but at least the city would have people supporting them if they were actually trying, putting forth effort. I don't care if it's the most stupid idea I've ever heard of. If you're hoping it would work and it's something new, maybe I don't know. Don't try the same old garbage that's proven not to work, though.
Yeah, but they've gotten comfortable, right? I mean, if you're mayor, like you're Mayor Benetti, you've been mayor, you run unopposed, whatever, you've got your thing, it's all working. You're well known in the area, people like you. Occasionally, you have to deal with assholes like me and you coming to a meeting and being upset, but besides that, everything's golden. Why would you change? So
Hmm.
I don't know. And again, I go all the way back every time to we got to have a better, more organized, strategic, conservative effort around here,
Hmm.
and and journalism. I think we need more journalism, fact based, investigative journalism around here.
Actual,
So
yeah, actual journalism, not opinions.
yeah, so that's where my head's at. That's kind of where I'm headed. Um, we got to do something. Got to keep on keeping on.
Hmm.
But you got anything else? Man, we talked about crime for an hour and 15 minutes. It's a hot topic, though. Big thing, big problem.
Easy to talk about. There's a lot to talk about with it. Fires.
Well,
If you see fires, try and get out and get a picture of whoever it is that's by the fire. Don't just call it in if you can.
I've seen
Because
reports of like they're literally like people walking away from them with like fire lighting paraphernalia and they just don't do anything. It's like, what? Crazy. Well, thanks for being on the show.
no problem.
Brandy took the week off. So maybe I'll see you and Brandy next week.
Yeah,
All right, man. Have a good night. Have a
you
good night,
too.
everybody.